Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to Arch City Sports. The Cardinals are coming off a very rare Sunday off day and also a split series versus the Royals, where we won game one and lost game two. We also beat the Rays this week, 2 out of 3 games. But before we get started with everything, of course, make sure to follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and follow over there. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe over there. Today, we're going to talk about the Cardinals versus Royals series, but also AAA, AA, single A, kind of what's going on, what to look forward to throughout the week, as the Cardinals have just like every series, this part of the season is very crucial. We have 2 very crucial series this week, one against the Reds and then a day off, and then 3 against a series against the Dodgers, 3 games against them as well. So, but starting with this past weekend, the Cardinals were in Kansas City, game 1 coming off a tough loss in game 3 to the Rays. Where the bullpen has looked shaky as of late. We go into game 1, Michaelis on the mound, and Michaelis, one of his not better outings. He's had several very tough outings this year, but also a couple really good ones. This was not one of those good ones. 4 innings, giving up 5 runs. Matthew Liberatore, arguably player of the game in this one. I know Victor Scott and Wilson Contreras had huge games, and we'll get to that in a second. But what Matthew Liberatore did in this one was saved our bullpen, saved the game, and really helped us win this one. He went 3 innings of hitless ball out of the bullpen, 3 strikeouts. Liberatore had a really bad outing I think it was about a week and a half ago. Ever since then, he's been lights out of the bullpen. Very streaky pitcher is Matthew Liberatore so far this year. 3 innings of hitless ball, though, and this one, Kittredge and Helsley shut the door in the 8th and 9th. But let's get to the offense, where Alec Burleson with 3 hits. Like I said, Wilson Contreras, 3 hits, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. Victor Scott, a clutch 2 RBI double late in this one. I believe it was the 8th inning that helped us win this one. And then Contreras in the top of the 9th hit a big bomb. I mean, a moonshot to left field to kind of stretch out that lead, which we needed in the end with an 8-5 victory. In game 2, we had Andre Pallante on the mound, and Pallante did pitch very well in this one, giving us 5 innings. I believe it was 5 2/3. Yes, 5 2/3, 1 run. He did walk 4 guys, 104 pitches from Pallante, which is definitely a stretch for a guy like Pallante. Ryan Fernandez went a third of an inning. He gave up 3 runs in this one. John King, 2/3 of an inning, 1 run. Sean Armstrong, an inning and a third, 2 runs. So the bullpen definitely let us down in this one. Ryan Fernandez is a guy that I made a video on a couple weeks ago about how good he's been pitching for us. And obviously, he's still had a tremendous year for us. His ERA has climbed, though, to 3.38, where it was sitting in that 2.15 range for a while. His last few outings has not been very sharp. So on July 26th versus the Nationals, he gave up 3 runs, 4 hits, in 1 inning. He then proceeded to have two scoreless outings against the Rangers that next series. But this month of August, against the Cubs on August 4th, a third of an inning, giving up 1 run. Against the Rays earlier this week, 1 inning, giving up 1 run, 2 hits, and then a really poor performance versus the Royals this weekend, and then a third of an inning, giving up 3 runs. I don't know if the innings are catching up to him. I don't know if he's been overused. He's obviously never pitched this much in his career before. I think it could be a case where I think the innings are catching up to him. It's such a tough spot in the season because you have JoJo and Kittredge and Helsley who have eaten up innings all year. John King hasn't looked as sharp as he did earlier in the year. Same thing with Fernandez. We need our starters to go deep because our bullpen has saved our starters a lot this year by going multiple innings out of the bullpen every single game. We need Eric Fetty, Sonny Gray, Pallante, Michaelis. We need all of them to get us through the 6th. We need them to down the stretch of the season to keep these guys fresh because we've seen it with Helsley, where he's not looked as sharp recently. We've seen it with JoJo and Kittredge through a stretch where they've looked better recently, but they had a really bad stretch there. And now we're seeing it with King and Fernandez where they're not looking very sharp. So we cannot expect our bullpen to absolutely win us every single ball game. We have to have our starters go deep, and at times we've had that. Recently, Sonny Gray's been eating up some innings. The last couple, he's gone through the 7th inning, which is really good to see. But we need if we're going to continue to throw Michaelis out there, we have to have Michaelis go more than 4 innings. Palante did pretty decent this one, got into the 6th inning, and overall he's been okay giving us innings. Eric Fetty in his 2 starts with us has given us 5 innings in each of his starts. We need him to do a lot more this week. He did only give up 1 run against the Rays. That was good to see. It was a grind, though. He had over 90 pitches through those 5 innings. But we have to save our bullpen because that's going to be a huge part of a potential postseason run, is if we can have our bullpen fresh down this stretch of the season. Like I said, we have 2 very, very important series this week. Versus the Reds at Cincinnati. That starts tonight, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, day off, and then we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday at versus the Dodgers at home, rather. So 2 massive series. I'm going to say this pretty much every week the rest of the season. We have about 45 games left this year. Every single series is extremely important. Every single game, every single inning, every single pitcher, keeping them fresh. I mean, every single little advantage of, keeping guys fresh or getting guys hot in the lineup, every little thing matters at this part in the season, especially when we're 6 to 7 games back in the division. We're 2 games out of the wild card. Like, all these things matter because we are not in a position where we can lose a couple and get on a cold streak. We have to keep climbing. One thing I definitely want to discuss here is the trend of this season has been so odd to me. We started off the year, obviously, the first month and a half, 2 months, 10 plus games under 500, just not a good baseball team. And you were wondering what this season looked like. We were talking about potentially firing Ollie, firing the whole coaching staff, just restarting everything. What were we going to do with Goldie and Arenado and the aging superstars, all that. Then we went through June and July as a top 10, top 5, top 3 team in all of baseball. At one point, we had the best record through July in all of baseball. That brought our record all the way back to 500. Ever since that point, and we talked about it on here, talk about jump starting and just going from that 500 point and just not looking back. But we have now just hovered around this middle of the pack mid team. And I don't know if that's who we are. I have a lot of belief in this team that those guys are too talented to be playing like they are. Talking about Arenado and Goldie, we've talked about them all year long. But up and down the lineup, and I said this a couple weeks ago, I think this is one of the best lineups when it comes to depth in all of baseball when they're all clicking. But the thing is, we have not seen them click yet. Lars Nootbaar is now under 230 for the year. Brendan Donovan has been very good, but also very streaky. He's had stretches where he's gone 0 for 18, 0 for 19. Mason Wynn has been pretty steady all year long. Burleson and Contreras, very good seasons in totality, but overall, recently have been struggling. Really good to see them both have a pretty good series in Kansas City. Hopefully they can keep it going in Cincinnati. I don't know if we're just this middle of the pack mid team or if we're an NLCS team. It's really hard to tell. We're in a season where we might not have a team that wins 100 games, which shows me everybody has a chance this year to win. And so that's why I have a really hard time being, just taking it as it is with our 500 record and going throughout the season to be like, because this is the type of season where you need to just go all in and get it done. Because it's just so wide open. The Braves are not as strong as they once were without Strider and Acuna. The Dodgers have shown a lot of weaknesses. Now, they did restock a lot at the deadline, but they do not look the same. The one team, and honestly, I was going to say the one team that I'm pretty scared of is the Phillies, but they have not looked good the second half of the season. They won their first series since the All-Star break recently. So on the American League side, they're loaded with the Orioles and the Yankees, and the Guardians have been great, and the Royals have been great this year and all that. But when we're talking about the National League, it is so wide open. The Mets have been good recently. The Giants are hanging around. The Diamondbacks are getting hot as of late. So you have those teams, and then you have the Brewers are obviously very good this year. But all these teams I'm naming have huge weaknesses. huge weaknesses. And whether it be the Diamondbacks pitching, the Brewers pitching, the Mets lineup just does not do it for me. They don't scare me. And their pitching, Manaya and Quintana have been great for them, but are you going to expect them to be great when it comes to the postseason? I don't think so. They haven't had Kodai Senga all year. Edwin Diaz has been great recently out of the bullpen, but he wasn't great earlier this year. The Phillies have everything they need to be a World Series champion this year, but they have not played well this second half of the season. And you have to think, is Alec Boehm running out of a little bit of gas? Bryce Harper hasn't been great the second half of the year. Trey Turner, still great stats this year, but he has definitely cooled off. So are the innings going to catch up to Nola and Wheeler after these last couple of years? I mean, this is baseball's a long season, but they went 2 straight long postseason runs. So are those innings going to catch up? All of these things with the Dodgers, Mookie Betts being out, Freddie Freeman's got a lot on his mind right now. The pitching hasn't been great. Like I said, they did restock with Flaherty and others, but I don't know. I think this season is very wide open, and I think we need to do our best to take advantage of it. This is a lineup for the Cardinals that I have a lot of belief in. Can Sonny Gray, Eric Fedde, Kyle Gibson, and hopefully sooner than later Lance Lynn, can those top 4 in your rotation be good enough to get you deep into ball games to save our bullpen to stay fresh later in the season? Time will tell, but I do believe we are better than this middle of the pack type of team. But like I was saying, big series this week versus the Reds and the Dodgers. Going down to AAA, there's one guy to keep an eye on right now, and that is the big man. Jordan Walker has been tearing it up in the month of August. So far in August, batting .349, 3 homers, .404 on base percentage, and a .1078 OPS. Jordan Walker has finally seemed to put it a little bit together, and we have a pretty good sample size here. It's about 11 games in the month of August so far, 10 games or so. He has been tearing it up, and he started this in the end of July, and I didn't even look up those numbers. I'm just talking about August right now. In September, we have a 2 roster spot opening, where I believe obviously you have to find some kind of reliever, which I believe should be Ryan Ludus, and there's a couple arms in AA that I believe deserve a chance too, but I don't think they will this year. But Ryan Ludus and Chris Roycroft will probably get those 2 spots, even though Roycroft has not looked very good as of late in AAA. You have those 2 guys that'll probably take one of those last reliever spots to help bolster your bullpen, give them some more arms back there. Or you might just throw Steven Matz up here, whatever it may be. But then the other spot, I believe, has to be a positional player. And a guy, I know we have Burleson and Pham and Victor Scott and potentially Siani when he gets back, and all these opportunities for these guys in the outfield. So it doesn't look, like the outfielder spot would be open. But Jordan Walker, I believe, deserves to be called back up when it comes to September. Like I said, .349 average, 3 homers, .1078 OPS. Unbelievable month of August so far for Jordan Walker. Moving to AA, we have a dynamic duo in the back end of that bullpen. Jack Ralston and Matt Swanson have been lights out, especially as of late. But throughout this season, Ralston, as of late, has been getting the eighth inning, and Swanson obviously is the closer down there. Ralston this year, 28 games, 4-1 with a .285 ERA, 47 innings pitched, and 59 strikeouts. A couple of years ago, there was a lot of hype around Ralston. Hasn't really put it together. This year, he's been lights out. And especially as of late, like I said. Matt Swanson, though, 42 games pitched, 3-3, a .266 ERA, and he's 19 for 19 in saves so far this year. Matt Swanson, if you don't remember, he was picked up in the trade for Paul DeJong last year at the deadline from the Blue Jays. Straight up Paul DeJong for Matt Swanson. I believe we obviously won this deal, and I think it's going to pay off dividends in the long run too, because Matt Swanson looks like a major league arm that'll be up here sooner than later, and I would imagine next year he's going to get his chance if he produces at the AAA level. Now, all the way down to Single A. The one name I want to point out here is Tanner Jacobson, and that name does sound familiar to you guys, or if it does, it's because he joined the podcast recently. Tanner, since joining the show, has gone 8 innings out of the bullpen, 1 run, 10 strikeouts, and only 1 walk. I don't know if we had an impact on that, but all I'm saying is Tanner Jacobson is rolling right now, and I had to give my guy a shout-out because he is absolutely killing it as of late. And then all the way down to Low A, one name to keep an eye on is Ian Patrutz. And why do I say Ian Patrutz? Because the dude's batting 382 down there with a on-base percentage over 500 and OPS over 1,000. But he's also joining the show tomorrow on Tuesday morning. So make sure to go follow and listen to that on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. It's going to be available all over there, so make sure to listen and view on that one. It's going to be a lot of fun to hear about Ian, a great dude, genuine dude, talk about his career in college at Maryland and at Alabama, and now tearing it up at Low A Palm Beach. So make sure to go check that out tomorrow. But I will see you guys for that, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for the morning episode talking about the middle. It's going to be the middle of this Cincinnati Reds series. So a lot to cover this latter part of the season, so make sure to tune in and go follow on Instagram, TikTok, follow and rate on Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you guys tomorrow with the one and only Ian Patrutz.